All right, what's your name and where'd you come from?
My name is Gary and I came here from North Carolina. Lived there my whole life. I moved here in last September, so I've almost been here a year. At the Southern Appalachian Labor School, was hired as an AmeriCorps Vista. And shortly after that, got started on a gardening program to coincide with the after-school program we had here. So we're growing some food and plants with kids and all the volunteers that get to come through here and help out. It's wonderful.
So did the summer program folks, the Build It Up West Virginia folks, like they help out much?
They worked their pants off out here, and it was very hot, and they got very sweaty and very dirty. And let's check it out what they did in here. This is the High Tunnel greenhouse. The funds for which were donated by the Fayette County Farmers Market Association. With the only stipulation is that we sell at the market, so we get to take kids out to the market later on in the season. And the volunteers from Build Up West Virginia throughout the past week started off mulching all of the ground in here, which was like a much needed activity happened, so that when people walk through here it's not all muddy and gross, and also it holds moisture in so that you have to water the plants less. That's pretty key in gardening and whatnot. And they also staked a lot of tomatoes, mainly the ones back here, and let's just walk through here and see what we got. We have peppers and tomatoes and cabbage over here that's getting eaten up by some kind of bug, but I'm not going to spray them. We're just going to have to see what happens with that. But luckily they're contained with the cabbage and not spreading to anywhere else. Anyway, when we get back here, a lot of these tomato plants needed to be staked, and that was kind of like I guess sort of like easing their way into gardening, because it wasn't like a labor-intensive sort of chore. Mulching in here and staking tomato plants. That's kind of like a fun activity and not extremely labor-intensive and difficult. So let's keep on walking through this jungle over here. One of the things that they were extremely helpful with is something that I don't get any help with ever, and that's daily gardening chores. Everything needs to be weeded on a regular basis, and everything needs to be watered on a regular basis. And we only have kids here to help out with that 1 day a week, so that's not quite enough, although it is extremely fun to do it with them. And the volunteers this week have basically made this whole area look beautiful. And starting in here and working their way into the raised garden beds outside. When we get out here, we had volunteers weeding all these raised beds. Also, that was kind of a continual project throughout the week. There was just a little bit of time spent every day weeding everywhere. But one of the things that they were extremely helpful with doing throughout this week is planting and digging up ground along this fence. This fence was put up here like a few months ago, and it's wonderful. Hopefully it will end up keeping, animals out of the garden area, which is pretty essential if we're going to try and have enough food to sell at the market. And the volunteers from Build Up West Virginia dug up all along both sides of this fence and planted melons and watermelons, cantaloupes and what have you, all types of squashes on both sides. Also some grapevines towards the end over there, which are going to be beautiful. And the idea is for all these plants that vine to eventually start to spread out and climb up the fence. We have a lot of cucumbers, and they're going to climb up the fence, and so are squashes like yellow squash, crookneck squash, and what have you. And also we have some smaller variety watermelon plants and cantaloupes, which will also be able to climb up the fence. And theoretically, the fruit will stay on the plant even when it's dangling in the air because it'll be strong enough. This is where they may have started to not like the gardening business so much, but I think it was good for them, and at the end of the day it made them feel like they were doing something. We have all this land that just got tilled, but this whole area was at some point stream bed. People talk about the stream that's on this side of the holler actually at some point being on this side, so at some point all the land in between these hills was covered with water. So what that means is we have a lot of rocks throughout the soil. Rocks are everywhere, and these awesome volunteers spread compost and dug up rocks and dug enough trench throughout this crazy madness to plant about 100 tomato plants, which is fabulous, just all kinds of fabulous. And we're going to have a lot of tomatoes at the market because of these volunteers. I think that's pretty good for now.
All right, cool. So yeah, why is this work important to Fayette County?
Well, it's important for Fayette County for a number of reasons. In this particular holler, I'll start there. We're in Beards Fork, West Virginia, and if you talk to a lot of older people at bars and in the county, some people will tell you that Beards Fork used to be like party central. There used to be a theater here, 3 convenience stores, a doctor's office, and an elementary school. And since they kind of stopped mining here in the late 60s, early 70s, all of that's gone. None of that exists. This community center is the only thing that provides jobs in this holler. And also, along with all of that economic struggle, people kind of stopped growing as much food for themselves. This holler used to be full of gardening everywhere throughout growing season, and there also used to be fruit trees all over the place, and some of the older folks up here will talk about that. So we're kind of trying to bring a little bit of that back, I guess, to the area. And also the Farmers Market Association in Fayette County just got started pretty recently, and they're just pretty much looking for anyone who wants to grow food to sell at the market. And we are hoping to encourage more and more people to do that by getting volunteers involved here and getting the youth of Fayette County involved in growing food and taking them all out to the market throughout the season, and just kind of like, honestly it's a pretty fabulous marketing plan, having kids selling food at the market. What better way to advertise the wonderfulness of gardening?
All right, anything else you want to add?
Seek is awesome. Building Up West Virginia is awesome. I loved every single volunteer that was here, and I look forward to seeing the ones that are coming back later on this season in July. And I'm sure they look forward to seeing the fruits of their labor blossom within the next few weeks, and doing a little bit more when they get back.
All right. Bam.